ladies?
How do you look back on this year and what's your message to the team?
Well, I mean, listen. Anytime you miss the playoffs, it becomes a long season that way. But listen, we're for us it was a positive season. We played a lot of young players, a lot of players developing, in front of our eyes. So encouraged with a lot of things we're seeing, and I feel like we're moving forward with what we're doing, and really feel good about our coaching staff and David and what he's been able to do and establish. So for me, it's a positive season. I think if you look over the course of the year, the way we played through most of the 82 games, you saw a team that competed really hard every night. That was in every single game, and I think that'll bode well as we go forward.
Do you have any kind of picture in your mind of where you are in this rebuild? And obviously, it's an opportunity for you to make some moves this summer, but you'll also be younger next year, perhaps.
Yeah.
Any idea where you are in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's hard to say, we're right where we want to be, because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that are going to happen this summer, and we have more young players coming, so I'd like to think that we're in a good spot. We're moving in the right direction. Like I said, our young players are developing, getting better. But as far as where we are in the plan, I think we're on target. We're moving in the right direction. But as timelines and all that, we'll let that play itself out. There's a lot of things that can happen this summer to speed that up, and we'll be looking at all those situations and go through all that over the next few weeks.
But your plan remains the same?
Yes.
You don't plan on making any drastic change to the plan?
No. I think that as we set out to rebuild this team, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves it's a little over a year into that, and we've added a number of pieces, young pieces. We're putting them in they've played NHL games. They're developing. We have a number of draft picks coming again over the next couple of years. So, we'll see. This is the day after the season ends. So, as far as the season, I feel good about our young players, where they're at, and their development, and we move forward.
It sounds like you're saying you could accelerate the timeline, but you don't necessarily feel like you have to accelerate the timeline. Is that fair to say?
Well, a lot of times other factors dictate, what you're going to do, and I would say this: we're at a place where we have to look at everything, and whether it's the free agent market, the trade market, how we do things at the draft, some of the names and things that get moved around the draft. We'll look at all those things, and in regards to moving our team, but I think we will try to do everything we can to try to advance it a little bit. Yeah.
Is Kravtsov coming?
Kravtsov is. We're still talking to him. Yeah, trying to get him over here. Yeah.
Are you excited about this particular draft? The reports are it's a deep draft. How do you feel about all those picks up front?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you listen, you go through a tough year. One of the good things that comes out of that is that you have a chance to get a good player, and obviously we're going to have a top 10 pick again. So it's up for us to make the most out of that. But by all accounts, it's a deep draft, and look forward to seeing some of these players as they finish up this year. We're going to the U18s in a couple weeks, so I look forward to seeing some more of the players.
Your thoughts on Glenn stepping away from his role, and somebody new likely stepping into that role?
Listen, Glenn hired me to come here, gave me every opportunity, eventually promoted me to general manager, so obviously I have some great thoughts about Glenn and that, and it's tough to see him go that way. At the same time, we'll look forward to what's next and who's next, and we'll go forward when that happens.
Can you talk about what you saw out of Quinn in his first season coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with David and his staff. I think that early on you could see right away he was going to hold players accountable, and he never backed off over a long course of a season when it's, we had some ups and downs and some tough stretches, and he still the accountability was always there. He's steadfast on how he wants his team to play, and I just like his communication skills, the way he talks to his players. I think everybody knows where they stand. I like the way our team plays. I like the way he wants to play, and I like the energy he brings. I think he's going to be a really good coach in this league for a long time.
Was this the season you expected to have? I mean,
well,
seeing progress from
yeah. I mean, in some ways, I think we overachieved in certain areas as far as our team, and in some ways, I would like to see some more. So, it's hard to say when you go into a season what you think your record's going to be. You always hope, for the best, and you hope, even with a young team, there's a chance to make the playoffs, but obviously we didn't make the playoffs, so you're disappointed. But I think, for the most part, we have to look at this as a positive season, what went on this year, and where we're at and where we're going.
Where did you overachieve?
I think that last year at this time a year ago, I felt like we didn't have enough players play to their potential. We didn't have enough guys. If you look at this year in particular, I think you look at Mika, a career year. I think to see somebody like that evolve and become what he's becoming, I think that's a great sign for us. I don't think even we expected that. I think when you look at Georgiev's emergence, so some of those things I feel like maybe ahead of where we thought they'd be, and encouraging for the future.
What about your additions of Strom and Lemieux and what they bring to the table in a full season next year?
Yeah, I think both show signs of somebody that can be here and be part of that and be part of a winning team. I think with Strom, it's exciting that he came in and did what he was able to do, and really became an effective player for us, and our coach used him in all areas and responded really well. In addition to his offense, he provided a spark there. And I think with Brendan Lemieux, it's a player that we covered that kind of style, and somebody that's going to play like that, and physical every night, and I think he has some upside offensively, so it looks like he could be a piece for us going forward.
Was he as advertised, Lemieux?
I think so. It's still, we still just really got the player, and he's trying to figure it out, and I think that there's some things we have to work on as far as his conditioning and all that. He's used to playing 5 to 7 to 8 minutes, and we're asking him to play more. So we'll ask this summer more of him to train like that, and so he's going to be a big part of us going forward. So we're still learning more about him, but I think the early signs are really good.
Jeff, with the presidents and process going on, do you have the green light to just figure out more? Yeah. We're gonna go forward. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a trade deadline, so I can't do too much there, right? So, but as far as day-to-day business, we're as is.
Does Georgiev's emergence this season alter any plans you might have had with Shesterkin in Russia in terms of what timeline to come over?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think so. We'll try to get him over here as quickly as we can. Hopefully sooner than later, and see where he's at. And you just never know when if we can get these guys over here, and then how long it takes them to adjust to what's happening in the game over here. It's very different.
When you look at Chris's season, do you kind of grade it differently because he was hurt in the second half, or do you factor that in over when you do your assessments?
Oh, Cried,
yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, he had a great first half. He was on pace for 35, maybe 40 goals at one time. Obviously, he was hurt and wasn't as effective, and it was pretty obvious. So, I think for the most part, a really encouraging season from him. It's hard to score goals in this league, and he scored 28 of them. So, I think he's been pretty consistent. and it looked like he was going to have a career year, and altered by injuries a little bit, but for the most part, Chris had a good year.
What did Mika mean to this team this year, and where do you see his trajectory?
Yeah, we just talked to him. I think that Mika said it best. I think he's just feeling like he's scratching the surface. He's done wonders for himself as far as his conditioning, and you can see it. He's quicker, he's faster, he's more confident. The points are there. That he's been pretty impressive. A lot of high-end plays, all that stuff. But in his own end, he really took a step forward, and he's really become a 200-foot player and a centerman close to a point a game, which is very hard to find and at his age. And I'm encouraged that he's only going to get better.
Jeff, do you hope to not have a situation where you have to sell hard again at the deadline?
Yeah, you don't really want to be in that position, and you don't want to keep having to do that. I can't predict the future, but I would like to be in the spot next year where we don't have to do that. Yeah, that would be nice.
And along those lines, Kreider's obviously coming.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 24 hours from our season ending, not even, and we have a lot of decisions to make there. But listen, like I said, Chris is a goal scorer, and they're hard to find, and we'll figure out what's the appropriate way to go here in the coming weeks. We have a lot of time before we have to make that decision.
When you have your organizational meetings, how much of a role or how much of a say will the analytics people have in your decision-making process?
Listen, we listen to everybody. We look at all assets, all facets of the way you should look at it. We have an analytics department, and we listen to everything they say. They present everything. When we look at their players, we study players. We look at game reports, videos, everything we can. We talk to people, and we look at all types of that. So it's a piece, and there's analytic people at our table helping us make decisions. I don't know what else I can tell you beyond that.
How do you view Henrik's year and different?
Yeah, he went to the All-Star game, so we kind of forget that. Obviously he was really good in the beginning of the year, and it became difficult. As we were going to trade some of his friends, and the season, the way it was unfolding, I think it became a lot for him, and mentally to have to go through that again, I think it was difficult, and it showed a little bit in his play. But I'm always, when I think of how his season went, I think of how good he was in the beginning of the year, and then he was an all-star, and that, it didn't go well for our team, from the trade deadline on, and he's no different than any player. It just didn't go the way he probably wanted it to, but the guy's still a great goalie. I'm convinced of that, and I just think that it just didn't go his way here the last few games, and I look for him to be great again.
How important is it just having him here as the person he is, what he's meant to the organization, all the winning he's done, just for the young guys to see that?
Yeah, listen, anytime you have a guy that's, he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. He's been the franchise player for a very long time. Anytime you have a player like that in your organization, it's important. And of course, he has the respect of everybody in the room, everybody in the organization. And you can see that in the fans and everywhere you go. He's been a stand-up guy for this franchise, and everybody in this organization has been better because he's been in it, and we all know that.
As a point about the younger players and the sort of what kind of self-evaluators they are, he was talking about how they walked out of some of these meetings and felt you were on the same page. Do you feel that way, and then just going forward with what kind of program these guys are going to be doing this summer?
Yeah, in general, the meetings, we have frustrated players that want to be playing, that, this week want to be on the ice and thinking about the playoffs. And, this is 2 years in a row for the organization not to make the playoffs. So there's frustration, and, everybody, you could feel how bad they want to turn it around as quickly as we can. And we're all on that same page. As far as David and I being on the same page completely, it's funny, most players are the same. They're very honest, and they can break down their game and what they have to do better. They understand what they have to do. I would say that's 99% of the time. You get very rare you get a player that doesn't have a good idea of what he needs to do.
Okay.
Any players you put on specific programs to enhance their improvement over the summer?
Yeah, I mean, for most of our young players, we give them programs and spell it out pretty well. You know, our veteran players that have had success in the past, you know, we follow that up and make sure they're doing the right things. But yeah, there's probably 5 or 6 guys that get a real detailed plan from us. The rest of them, you know, we're still working through, and we kind of know they've been around the organization, so we kind of know. But with all the new guys, believe me, we're monitoring where they're going and what they're going to do and how they're going to do it.
Do you have any Dave DeBuscher's Lucky Charms anywhere?
I do have something I'm going to bring that I'm sworn to secrecy that I can't show it until we win. So I'll bring something special with me. I can guarantee you that.
Is it the same thing you brought last year?
No, that didn't win. No, that wouldn't be very superstitious. Yeah, no, we're going to start with something new. So.